Hi, welcome to SOC279. I'm going to show you how to get confidence intervals out of SPSS using the ANES data set we've been working with. Let's check that out. First, we got to start with you not looking at me while I'm recording this, because that's just silly. So we're stopping the video. I'm going to share my screen with you right now. And you should see something that looks very similar to the SPSS we've been working with. I've already loaded the data set into SPSS. Remember, it's the ANES 2012 data set. And for all intents and purposes, let's just delete all that syntax and pretend like that didn't happen. So if you remember, the ANES data set has a bunch of items in it that are all continuous level measures, which means that they range from like 0 to something like 100. And all those items are scored as, they're named FT underscore something. So for FT underscore Obama, that is the feelings thermometer towards the Democratic presidential candidate. Remember, this was in 2012. So while he was president, he was also the presidential candidate that year. And remember, the FT items, those are feelings thermometers, which means that they range from 0 to 100, where low scores are more negative feelings and high scores are more positive feelings. So if you scored 100 on FT underscore Obama, you felt very strongly or very positively or very warmly towards Obama. And if you scored 0, then you felt very negatively towards Obama. So we're going to work with a couple of these FT underscore items so that you can see how we would get a confidence interval in SPSS. So how you do it, remember, there's two ways we can do this. We can do this in the syntax file, or we can use a drop-down menu. Since we're all just baby SPSS ninjas, I figured we could start with the drop-down menu. In order to get there, you have to go up to the Analyze tab and then drag down to Compare Means, and then one sample t-test, okay? So if you remember, these usually come, you can also like resize this entire window. So if you wanted to make it bigger, smaller, whatever. But generally, I think the SPSS default is to show the variable labels here. In this case, if you don't know what you're looking for, you can just kind of like scroll through and be like, oh, I'm really interested in that, or I'm really interested in this. For us, though, since I already know the variables I want to work with, I'm just going to go right-click variable names, and then I'm going to go right-click display variable labels. I'm sorry, I meant alphabetical. Done. Okay. So this gives me an alphabetical listing of all the variable names that we have in the data set. And as you can see, we have like FT underscore atheists, big business, Congress, liberals, military, the USSC, welfare, etc. Okay. So we're going to just click on one of these guys. I think we're going to go with the USSC. I believe that is the U.S. Supreme Court. And once you click on one of these, you can hit the right arrow button and send it over to the test variable window. And if you decide you don't like that, you can just hit that button again and send it back. But we're going to stay with that for right now. We're also going to go up to the options window, and we're going to decide what confidence interval we want. For right now, we're going to start with 95. And the default, I believe, is 95. So if you're just launching SPSS for the first time, you might not need to do anything else. Hit OK, and then hit OK again. All right. So this is the command that we actually just executed. As you can see, there's the format t-test, and then all the various options that you need to include. The output that we get shows that the mean score for feelings thermometer towards the U.S. Supreme Court is 57.52. That means that on a scale of 0 to 100, where 100 is amazing, the average score for individuals that participated in this survey was 57.52, okay? Now, we understand that this is also based on the sample, okay? And one of the things that you need to understand about samples is that they don't always necessarily include all of the possible data that's out there. So we construct confidence intervals to assess or estimate the level of confidence that we have that any particular range is going to include our mean, okay? So this 95% confidence interval that we just constructed, as you can see, you know, it's equally balanced around the mean here. And we can say that when we have 95% confidence that the true value of the population mean of this item, which is a US Supreme Court feeling thermometer, is between 56.98 and 58.05, okay? So the range is relatively small, and that's largely a function of the fact that we have over 5,400 observations in this data set. We have, if there were fewer observations, it's likely that that 95% confidence interval would be wider. So you might see a score of like 50 in this for the lower end of the confidence interval, and 70 as the upper end or whatever. So the fact that it's relatively small is actually really nice in terms of a data standpoint. Okay, so we're going to grab this syntax because you know how I feel about you guys writing syntax, and we're going to just paste it into the syntax window. Okay, now you know how I also feel about annotated syntax files. So we're just going to say 95% confidence interval of FT underscore USSC. Okay. And if we wanted to do this again with, say, a 99% confidence interval, we could essentially do the same exact, use the same exact code we used up here, but then just modify it to have it include 99% confidence instead of the 95% confidence. So we're going to, we just copied and pasted it, and now we're just going to update that, command, and now we can highlight it and hit the execute button. And so when we do that, the mean stays the same, obviously, because the mean is the mean, but our confidence interval changes. And in this case, the lower end gets lower and the upper end gets higher. And what this is a function of is the fact that with confidence intervals, we're constantly trying to assess the extent to which we may be wrong. That our mean may not actually be in this range. So by offering this confidence interval, we're saying that we have 99% confidence that the actual value of the mean is between 56.81 and 58.22, okay? Now, because if you compare this to the 95% confidence interval, it's a wider range, which is what you would expect. If you wanted to be wrong fewer times, then you would accept a greater range of possibilities or answers. And that's what we have here, okay? It's just, a wider confidence interval, a larger confidence interval means a wider range. It wouldn't do you any good to have like a 5% confidence interval, because that range would be incredibly small, and with that very small range between your lower and upper confidence limits, you run the risk of being wrong a lot, of your actual mean not being in that in between your lower and upper limits. So generally, we only do confidence interval testing on 95 and 99% confidence, or at the 99 and 95% confidence. Sometimes in some fields you'll see it with 90% confidence, but the standards are basically 95 and 99. So if we decided to do maybe one more of these, we might go up to the Analyze tab and then drag down to Compare Means and One Sample t-test. And here we're going to look for something like, how about feelings towards feminists? And we click on that and bring it over, and then bring the USSC item back. And we're also going to leave it because I think it's 95, yep, and hit OK. And again, same thing. Here, the mean score for feelings towards feminists is 51.19. And then we have a lower limit on confidence interval is 50.56 and an upper limit of 51.83. So how we'd interpret this is that we have 95% confidence that the true value of the population mean is between 51.56 and 51.83. And then you could also kind of think about it in terms of, you know, if we did this 5% of the time, the true value of the population mean is not going to be in that range. And again, you know, we're big fans of keeping it going with this. So we're going to do another one sample t-test with feminists, but we're going to change the options to 99% confidence and hit OK. And as you can see, the lower limit gets lower and the upper limit gets higher. So we can say that the mean, that we have 99% confidence that the true value of the mean for feelings towards feminists is somewhere between 50.35 and 52.03. And that is that. It's pretty basic, pretty straightforward. Obviously, I just want to grab this syntax and update. So that is that. I would save this and do something with it, but we don't need to do that for right now. That is it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and ask questions, or send me a note, see me before class, something. So hope this was helpful. Thanks. Talk to you later.